क्लास 11th हम पढ़ रहे थे enzymes, जिसमें मैंने आपको बताया enzymes क्या होते हैं. Now, how the enzymes speed up a chemical reaction, a biological reaction. You know that enzymes speed up chemical reactions. In the absence of enzymes, reactions will be very slow. If there will be no enzymes, reactions will proceed, but they will proceed slowly. I will give an example. If carbon dioxide and water can combine under normal conditions, means without the enzymes, they can form carbonic acid about 200 molecules. 200 molecules of H2CO3 means carbonic acid will be formed. If under normal conditions, carbon dioxide and water can combine. But if there will be an enzyme, means they will proceed with the help of enzyme carbonic anhydrase. कार्बोनिक एनहाइड्रेस की मदद से जब कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड और ऑक्सीजन मिलेंगे then they will form about 6 lakh molecules. 6 lakh molecules. 6 lakh molecules of carbonic acid will be formed, and that too in 1 second. And 200 molecules will be formed per hour. That is about 10 million times. 10 million times. The reaction becomes faster. 10 million times the reaction becomes faster in the presence of enzyme. Acceleration will be 10 million times. Therefore, it proves that the enzymes can speed up the chemical reactions. And if an enzyme works in a reaction in different steps, if an enzyme or different types of enzymes can work in a chemical reaction stepwise, forming a product, then it is known as metabolic pathway. For example, formation of pyruvic acid from glucose. Glucose changes into pyruvic acid. Pyruvic acid में glucose change होता है. And this reaction occurs in steps. This stepwise reaction is known as metabolic pathway. In our skeletal muscles, reactions occur without the presence of oxygen, and reactions occur without the absence of oxygen. Under the conditions of anaerobic, or we can say in the absence of oxygen, in the skeletal muscles, lactic acid is formed. And aerobically, without the presence of oxygen, lactic acid is formed in our muscles. And if there will be the oxygen, in the presence of oxygen, or we can say under normal aerobic conditions, pyruvic acid is formed. Pyruvic acid is formed in our muscles. In our muscles aerobically, and lactic acid is formed anaerobically. Likewise, the fermentation of yeast. Yeast की fermentation जब होती है in the presence of enzyme, तो ethanol बनता है. Some reactions occur in presence of oxygen and some in absence of oxygen. You know that an enzyme has an active site. एक enzyme को एक active site होती है, a repression, a socket. At this active site, the substance which forms the product gets attached at this active site, or we can say the substrate. Substrate is the substance which takes part in a chemical reaction, which binds with the enzyme. When the substrate binds with the enzyme, it forms enzyme substrate complex. एंजाइम सबस्ट्रेट कॉम्प्लेक्स। यहाँ पर एंजाइम और सबस्ट्रेट मिलता है तो एंजाइम सबस्ट्रेट कॉम्प्लेक्स बनता है। ES complex, E means enzyme, S means substrate. As soon as this complex is formed, then the product gets released. Product is released soon because the enzyme speeds up the chemical reaction. Substrate forms products with the help of the enzyme. When the enzyme combines with the substrate, it forms enzyme substrate complex. Enzyme, when acts with the substrate at the active site, it is known as transitional state of substrate. This is the transitional state of substrate. When it is with the enzyme, substrate जब enzyme से मिलता है, then it is known as transitional state of the substrate. Transitional state of the substrate तब बनता है जब substrate combine होता है with the enzyme. As soon as the enzyme substrate complex is formed, product is released from the active site. Active site से product release होता है and the structure of the substrate gets transformed into the structure of the product. Therefore, structure of the substrate gets transformed into the structure of the product. Rest tomorrow.